Hello and welcome to the first of who knows how many, the state of the New York Rangers. The Rangers are 11 games in, they are 4-5-2, and let's talk about how they've been playing so far this season. The start of the season was a doubleheader between the Rangers and Islanders, both at Madison Square Garden. The Rangers got shut out 4-0 with Igor Shesterkin in net for Game 1, and won the second game 5-0 with Alexander Georgiev in net. The next game they had was against the New Jersey Devils, which they lost 4-3 in regulation time. Alexander Georgiev got the loss in that game. So, where does this leave us? A couple days later, they play the Pittsburgh Penguins. In the game against the Penguins, the fourth game of the season, they lose 4-3 in a shootout after having a 3-1 lead in the second period. The Rangers had an explosive second period this game. They had Fox, Hedl, and Kakko scoring goals in the second to take a 3-1 lead. Jared McCann scores a power play goal in the second period to make it 3-2, and then Teddy Blueger scores a late third period goal for the Pittsburgh Penguins to tie it. The Rangers lose in the shootout, Igor Shesterkin gets a loss, and it's a blown third period lead for the Rangers. Same situation now, Rangers-Penguins a couple days later. The Rangers blow another third period lead, this time only by a goal, but still a blown lead in the third period, and they don't even get a point out of this one. They lose in regulation. They also lose Philip Hedl. So not only do they lose the lead, and they lose the game, but they lose one of their best centers who has been playing good so far this season. If you do want to take a positive from this game on January 24th against the Penguins, is that they never took a penalty, and Colin Blackwell, who Julien Gauthier was scratched for, was able to make his Rangers debut and score a goal, and he's been playing really well since then. Another blown lead by the Rangers on January 24th. Now we move 2 days later. The Rangers are currently 2-3-1 on the season. They go 2-4-1 on the season after blowing another lead, this time to the Buffalo Sabres. And it was another 2-goal lead. They scored 2 goals in the first period and weren't able to score another goal after that, as Buffalo scored 2 in the second and won the game. So far, up until January 26th, the problem was holding on the leads, especially late in the game. And the Rangers only won 30% of the faceoffs that game. January 28th, the Rangers and Sabres once again in Buffalo. Alexis Lafreniere's overtime winner. However, it comes at a cost. Once again, they blew another third period lead, this time Sam Reinhart tying the game up on the power play. Another third period lead blown, another lead in general blown. So far up until this point, like I've said, the Rangers are struggling to hold on to leads. And before we go even further, why is that? Of course we have veterans on the team, but the kids are a little inexperienced in holding on to leads, especially at the NHL level. And the team knows this. The team is understanding that they're letting up in the third period and letting teams back in the game. On January 28th, the Rangers are 2-4-1. The Rangers' 9th game of the season came against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Once again, they blow a third period lead. They lose 5-4 in overtime, courtesy to Sidney Crosby. And then, after that game, there was a skirmish in the runway going towards the locker room. DeAngelo and Georgiev got into a scrap, and the Rangers drama starts. Rumors swirling around about all different kind of situations with Tony DeAngelo, Chris Kreider, Keandre Miller, Alexander Georgiev. It's all been resolved now. Tony DeAngelo will not play again for the New York Rangers. They are still looking to move him. In my opinion, I think he does get moved in the next couple of days, in fact. So we'll see where that goes. But the Rangers, as of right now, look like to have the drama out the window. And honestly, it kind of looks like it sparked the team a little bit recently. Now, this is all within the last week. February 1st, they win a really good game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, playing really well defensively in their own end. They win 3-1. Artemi Panarin with 3 points. I think the Rangers played probably their solid game throughout the whole season. This was the game you look at and say that was a complete game so far in this season. The Rangers now 3-4-2 face Washington, who is one of the best teams in the East Division. This, so far, was one of the most exciting games this season. The Rangers win 4-2 over the Capitals after holding on to a third period lead, and they held on to it beautifully. They never took their foot off the gas. They kept the pressure in the offensive zone, especially late in the third period, and denied Washington of a high-scoring chance that could have tied the game up. Igor Shesterkin gets the win in that one, who I think has been playing really well recently. Anthony Bitetto scores his first goal as a Ranger. It's the Rangers' first time wearing the reverse retros. Ryan Strome with 2 goals. Artemi Panarin had a heck of a game with 3 points once again. And the Rangers look like they have something building here on a 2-game winning streak. Now, at this point, the Rangers are 4-4-2. They're supposed to be playing a game Saturday, February 6th against the New Jersey Devils. However, with the Devils having COVID issues, that game needed to be pushed back at a later date. Now, their next game is Monday, February 8th against the New York Islanders. For those of you watching, this was last night's game. After having a really good solid week for Igor Shesterkin, he starts his 3rd consecutive game. We all know Georgiev's track record against the New York Islanders. However, if Igor Shesterkin is your number 1 starter, you have to reward him with playing games. The Rangers and Islanders played a defensive affair throughout 50 minutes of the game. Libor Hajek turns the puck over, and the Islanders take advantage of it. They win 2-0 against the Rangers. It's a heartbreaking loss considering how well the Rangers played defensively against the Islanders. They just weren't able to capitalize on some of the chances. Semyon Varlamov played an insane game, and the Rangers now take a step back after taking a step forward. After recapping this whole video, I want to point out a few players who I think have really stood out in a positive manner so far this season for the Rangers. I like the way Colin Blackwell has been playing, before he was injured of course. I think he's looked good, he's fast and hard on the puck. Another bottom 6 guy, Philip DiGiuseppe. Every shift it seems like he just goes into the offensive zone and fights for that puck, and he's coming out with it most of the time. A lot of you guys have been comparing him to Jesper Fast. A really good substitute for Jesper Fast has been Philip DiGiuseppe. Quietly having a good season is Pavel Buchnevich. The stats may not show it, but I think he's been one of the best forwards for the Rangers. And of course, Artemi Panarin has been doing a really good job. As the season goes on, you can see Kaapo Kakko trying to find his rhythm, especially facing NHL players in the offensive zone and on the forecheck. I think he's really enjoying playing with Ryan Strome and Artemi Panarin. That line has looked really good the last couple of games. They had an explosive night against Washington. They were obviously shut out last night against the Islanders, but they do look good. After a slow start to the season, I think Ryan Strome has been doing a really good job with Panarin and Kakko. He's looked really good. Some guys who are getting off to really slow starts is Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider. Those guys need to be there every single night. I don't want to blame the lost leads on them, but they're veterans. They need to take responsibility in the locker room and on the ice to show these kids how to play the game. Zibanejad with only 3 points so far this season. In my opinion, I'm not a doctor. I'm not watching him off ice. I think he's hurt. I really do think he's hurt. When he goes in for a board battle, he's either losing it or just giving up, and he seems out of energy. I don't know if it's COVID related, but I do think he might be injured. However, he needs to step it up, plain and simple. Chris Kreider, the inconsistencies so far are there this season. We have seen sparks of him and his stride, that powerful stride. We know what he's capable of, especially on the forecheck in the offensive zone. He's got to step it up too. Now let's go to the back end. We haven't touched the back end at all this video. K'Andre Miller, guys, has been absolutely outstanding, blowing our minds how young he is and how good he is, especially in his own end. It's remnants of Adam Fox from last season. Remember, we were all harping on how good Adam Fox was in on his own end. K'Andre Miller has been that times 5. Breaking up 2-on-1s, reading the play so good, especially against teams' top players. He was able to lock down Matt Barzal last night, Alexander Ovechkin against Washington, and Sidney Crosby like 3 games. Now let's move on to Adam Fox. He has looked really sharp so far, consistent from what we've seen last year. I think he's been really better offensively, especially on the power play, flinging pucks to the net. We've seen him do that in the past. I think he's looked really good. And now moving on to the goaltenders. Igor Shesterkin and Alexander Georgiev got off to really slow, sluggish starts to the season. However, we have seen Igor Shesterkin play a few really good games over the last week. We'll see what Alexander Georgiev does in the future, but I'm relying on Igor Shesterkin to be the number 1 goaltender. Alexander Georgiev is a great goaltender, don't get me wrong. I do think Igor Shesterkin will eventually steal the starting position job, if he hasn't already. Don't you love looking at stats? I love looking at stats. Let's get into it. At 43.2% face-off winning percentage, they're only ahead of the Devils. They're at 30th in the NHL in winning face-offs. That's not good whatsoever. Even though they had a really good night last night against the Islanders, 43.2% is not going to win you any games or help you win any games in the future. That needs to be fixed right away. Another huge negative is 13.6% on the power play. Are you kidding me? With that star power? That needs to be fixed. And I think it all comes from the players hesitating to shoot the puck. They're at 25th in the league in the power play. In my opinion, they have done a really good job so far on the power play in shooting the puck and creating chances off of that, and they have to get back to that. Adam Fox so far has 2 power play assists, primary assists, from just shooting the puck at the net and getting a tip in front. Those are really the stats I wanted to harp on for the Rangers this season. So far, through 11 games, the Rangers are a young team. They're young. They need their veterans to step up and help them out. It's not David Quinn at all. Just so you guys know, I don't think it is. They're going to improve, hopefully, as time goes on. The state of the New York Rangers right now is young. That's what I'm going to label it as, young. They're inexperienced so far. I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Thank you for sticking with me for however long this video is. Leave a like if you did enjoy. State of the New York Rangers, #1. I'll see you guys later.